Why did Anita Baker have beef with Luther Vandross? Part 2. Let's jump back in. Before we get into the highs and lows of the tour, I think it's worth mentioning that even though Luther was a seasoned R&B vet at the start of the tour, he faced what the Philadelphia Inquirer called the Crossover Conundrum. John Milward writes, Luther Vandross is a great black singer who is a stranger on the pop charts. Each of his first 5 albums have sold more than 1 million records. The title tune of his last LP, Give Me the Reason, was by far the best track on the Ruthless People soundtrack, which included songs by Mick Jagger, Billy Joel, and Bruce Springsteen. He also produced hits for 2 of his favorite singers, Aretha Franklin and Dionne Warwick, and recently wrote and produced an album for song and dance man Gregory Hines. Still, unlike distinctly lesser talents such as Billy Ocean and Gregory Abbott, as far as the white audience is concerned, Vandross might as well be invisible. But here's what Milward writes about Anita Baker later in the same article. Silky songs always stand a chance of winning a wide hearing. Sharing the bill at the spectrum with Vandross would be Anita Baker, a soulful jazz or jazzy soul singer who found unexpected crossover success with her album Rapture. Baker clearly tapped into an older audience looking for something appropriate to accompany white wine seductions. Whether Vandross can find his way into those households remains an open question. Okay, so let's get into the tour. Soft Sheen is the sponsor. It kicks off in Chocolate City to a crowd of 18,000 soulful fans. Comedian Sinbad of Different World fame, one of the most popular sitcoms on TV at the time, is the tour's opening act. Both Anita and Luther wow crowds as the tour travels throughout the East Coast. Here's part of the review Wayne Robbins of Newsday wrote when the tour made its stop at Madison Square Garden in New York City. Talk about bang for your buck. Getting Luther Vandross and Anita Baker, the 2 top purveyors for romantic black pop, on the same bill is like getting to eat at both the Four Seasons and Le Bernardin for the price of 1 meal. The repast offered at the Garden Wednesday night was almost sinfully indulgent, with Baker doing a headline-length set that kept Vandross from taking the stage until 10:30. Both the work and the wait were worth it. Baker had been a little-known pop soul singer of quiet distinction until her 1986 album Rapture made her a star. Surprisingly, the vastness of the Garden magnified rather than diminished Baker's many musical strengths. And here's what Robbins said about Luther's performance. The transformation of Luther Vandross over the years has been one of the most astonishing in show business. From a behind-the-scenes player, a jingle singer, a backup vocalist, songwriter, and producer, to most adored leading man. His entrance elicited a roar usually reserved for a popular heavyweight boxing champion, or Elvis. Until the wave broke, Vandross and his 3 onstage backup singers soaked it all in, a slight smirk creasing Vandross's face. That roar recurred often during and after most of Vandross's songs, most of them ballads which were skeletally arranged so they wouldn't distract from the vocals. Vandross has become a more disciplined singer over the years. Once he was infatuated with technique. Now he concentrates on communicating emotion, which he did unerringly Wednesday night. Now, there were some typical issues on the tour as to be expected. Anita didn't perform at one of the 3 scheduled shows at Madison Square Garden due to a throat infection, an issue she had to see a specialist about. Nevertheless, Anita got back in form, and the tour continued to receive crowd satisfaction and rave reviews from writers. Here's what Roger Kay of the Fort Worth Star-Telegram wrote. Baker Vandross offers soul-satisfying show. A quiet storm of music blew into Reunion Arena last night, drenching a crowd of about 15,000 with a barrage of romantic, soulful sounds from Anita Baker and Luther Vandross. Quiet Storm is the label that has been placed on the new crossover musical genre that harks back to the old pre-drum machine days of rhythm and blues love songs. And nobody has been more successful in appealing to the Quiet Storm crowd than Baker and Vandross, two vocalists who can belt out the love songs with the best of them. So it's appropriate that the two are on tour together, promoting eagerly awaited new albums. Baker is Giving You the Best I Got, and Vandross is Any Love. They previewed a few new tunes that night, but basically offer a generous supply of past successes during the concert, which saw both singers perform in a round on a revolving stage. We've got a whole lot of love songs to sing this evening, Baker said at the start of the show. I'm going to do my best to give you my love, and then Luther is going to come out and give you his love, so we hope you have somebody to hold on to. Baker may be petite. She only stands about 5 feet in high heels, but she demonstrated that she owns one of the most powerful, dynamic voices in popular music. During her 75 minutes on stage, she gave everything she had, rapping each vocal in such glorious emotional finery that every song seemed like a show in itself. At one moment, she sang in her distinctively low moan of a vocal. Then just as quickly, she shifted gears and hit the soprano end of the scale as if she was leaping a tall building in a single bound. It was a vocal exhibition that included most of the tunes from a 1986 breakthrough album Rapture, including You Bring Me Joy, Watch Your Step, and the smash single Sweet Love. Vandross didn't take the stage until late in the night. However, he easily won the approval of the audience with his sincere, heartfelt renderings of the romantic ballads that have made him one of the top crooners of the 80s. Here's what we're going to do, he told the crowd. We're going to start right from the beginning and work our way up to the present. And that's just what he did, kicking off a hits-filled evening with his first blockbuster from 1981, Never Too Much. Although he didn't cut loose with the vocal acrobatics Baker unleashed, the soft, sweet, and sensitive singing he did do seemed more than enough to satisfy his many fans that night. Here's what Gary Graff wrote when the tour came to the Joe Louis Arena in the Motor City, Anita's hometown. Baker and Vandross, warm crowd with love. Love is going to be happening tonight, actor comedian Sinbad told a near-capacity crowd Wednesday night at Joe Louis Arena, and there was perhaps no better way to sum up a concert by Luther Vandross and Anita Baker. Love, 1, Lost and Pending, was the order of the night from Baker's opening song. Same Old Love to Stop to Love at the end of Vandross' set, and the crowd gave its love back, showering the two rhythm and blues performers with ample affection and respect. Though the two were roughly equal in popularity, it was unquestionably Baker's night. Playing in her hometown, she lives in Grosse Pointe, Baker delivered a personable 11-song, 65-minute set that showcased every facet of her talents, from jazz stylings to pop singing. Though it took her a few songs to shake off some rust, she hadn't performed for almost 2 weeks and had been suffering throat problems. Baker warmed up with hits, carrying favor with Sweet Love and Been So Long. But with Watch Your Step, she blew things wide open. It was the best musical performance of the night, as she traded licks with saxophonist Everett Harp and dazzled the audience with her ridiculously accurate multi-octave vocals. From there, she was singing to the converted, earning huge ovations for new material, favorites from her Rapture album, and covers of God Bless the Child and Michael Jackson's Another Part of Me. Vandross didn't roll over, however. His sultry tones still brought screams from his many female fans as he offered a set of old favorites and new songs from his latest album, Any Love. That same writer wrote another piece a few days later, this time a nice profile on Anita Baker as the tour gets hotter and hotter in terms of street buzz and commercial success. The timing was perfect. Anita and Luther had new albums racing up the charts while co-headlining one of the hottest tours of 1988. When the tour was on its way to his town, David Barton of the Sacramento Bee wrote up a preview calling Anita and Luther a double scoop of creamy, rich vocals. When the tour hit the Bay, San Francisco Examiner's pop music critic Barry Walters wrote, Luther Vandross, Anita Baker, woo, Oakland. When the show poured into Atlanta, writer Mark Cooper called the Heat Tour the hottest tickets in the U.S., and he called Luther and Anita the king and queen of contemporary soul. When the tour rolled back around to the DC-Baltimore corridor in December, this time playing in Baltimore, Milton Kent of the Evening Sun wrote about how the show had reached its stride. But last night, both Baker and Vandross were on top of their game, holding the sellout audience with alternate power and grace, extracting and cajoling at just the right moments. When the tour came to Cincinnati's Riverfront Coliseum, the place where the seed was planted as a result of both vocalists performing at the Cool Fest on the same night the previous year, writer Cliff Riddell predicted the maternity wards would be packed at local hospitals due to all of the baby making by loving couples who attended Luther and Anita's concert doubleheader. So, the tour was making money at the box office, making critically acclaimed headlines, and helping to make babies. Everybody's happy, right? Well, what fans didn't know is that things have been quite messy behind the scenes between the two soul superstars since nearly the very start of the tour. What was the beef? Thanks for joining me. Make sure you check out part 3, the final part of the series. Soulful Charts, we got the receipts. Peace.